So, yeah, I'm stuck here now. Me, Sarah, 32, freelance writer, which basically means I spend half my time staring at a blank screen and the other half panicking about money, living in my great-aunt Alara's old house. She, passed away a few months back. Grand sister, you know? The one everyone kinda whispered about. Anyway, the house is in the middle of nowhere, just outside some sleepy New England town. Think big, creaky old place surrounded by these massive, ancient oak trees that look like they've seen too much. It smells like, well, like every grandma's house that's been closed up for too long. Dust, old books, maybe a hint of mothballs. Definitely some dampness lurking in the corners. My mission, should I choose to accept it, is to clear out all her stuff, which is a nightmare, by the way. I mean, the woman was a hoarder, but like a classy hoarder. Everything's old, but somehow important looking. While I'm at it, I'm supposed to find some magic inspiration for this new novel. That damn deadline is breathing down my neck, and my brain feels as empty as this house. Empty. God, it's really empty here. Honestly, it's a weird mix of feelings. I used to spend summers here as a kid, running around, building forts under those giant oaks. There's a warmth to those memories, but it's faded now, more like a faint echo. Now, there's this heavy exhaustion from just existing in this space, sorting through a lifetime of someone else's memories. And under it all, this deep, kinda hollow feeling. A loneliness that clings to the air, wraps around you. Every corner felt huge, too quiet, like it was waiting for something. Or someone. I decided to tackle Alara's study first. Big mistake. Absolute chaos, I tell you. Books stacked to the ceiling, papers spilling out of every drawer, strange little trinkets everywhere. Dust bunnies the size of small rodents danced across the floorboards. I was elbow deep in a pile of ancient-looking scrolls, sneezing every 5 seconds, thinking, this is my life now? Living out a dusty historical drama? Shoving aside a stack of heavy leather-bound gardening books, because of course Alara had books about gardening, probably how to grow sentient tomatoes or something, my hand brushed against something smooth, but worn. It was a notebook, dark brown leather, tied with a faded ribbon. Looked like a regular old cookbook, the kind grandmas keep their secret recipes in. I figured, hey, maybe I'll find a killer apple pie recipe to make this whole ordeal worth it. I flipped it open, just out of curiosity. Boring stuff at first. Page after page of carefully written recipes for things like Grandma Alara's award-winning rhubarb crumble and pumpkin spice cookies for a cold autumn night. All very wholesome, very New England grandma. My stomach growled a little. I mean, the woman could bake. But then, tucked between a recipe for cranberry sauce and a note about preserving peaches, I saw it. Scribbles. Not in the neat, elegant handwriting of the main recipes, but in a frantic, almost desperate scrawl. Weird ingredients. Seriously weird. Stuff about moon petal dew, collected under a waxing crescent, and a single feather from a midnight owl. I laughed, actually, out loud. Classic Alara, I muttered. Always a bit extra. I mean, the woman was eccentric. Everyone knew that. Probably just her trying to be all witchy and cool for kicks. Then it got darker. Another page, a different script, almost like it was written in a rush. It talked about an elixir of vitality. Sounded good, right? Like a fancy vitamin smoothie. But the ingredients listed, they weren't exactly from your local Whole Foods. It read, a drop of blood from a broken promise. A strand of hair from one loved dearly, and then the one that made my breath catch, a splinter of bone from someone unmourned. My blood went cold just for a second. It was like someone had poured ice water down my spine. I tried to dismiss it, to tell myself it was just some morbid fantasy Alara had cooked up for a Halloween party. But it felt too real, too specific. And then a flash. Just for a second, that smell. It was like a ghost, a whisper in the back of my mind, brought on by those words. A big black cauldron bubbling away in a kitchen that was way too dark, way too late at night. The dim glow of firelight under it. And that smell. God, that smell. Something thick, dark, stirring itself, almost. And the air around it. Sweet, but also kind of meaty, rancid. Ugh, it's hard to explain, but it made my stomach churn just thinking about it. My brain immediately went, Sarah, you're tired. It's the old house, the smell of ancient dust, and maybe a dead mouse or something that crawled in through the vents. I clapped the notebook shut, like I was trying to trap the memory inside it. Always trying to make sense of things, you know? Always trying to find a logical explanation for something that felt so fundamentally wrong. It was just a weird old lady's quirky cookbook, nothing more, right? Later that evening, the house had settled into an almost unnatural quiet. Not the peaceful kind of quiet, but the kind that makes you feel like the air is heavy, waiting. I was hunched over my laptop, trying to force words onto an empty page. Damn writer's block. My head felt like it was stuffed with cotton, and every idea just evaporated before I could even type the first letter. The house was listening. That's how it felt anyway. Every creak of the old wood, every rustle of the leaves outside, it all felt amplified, like a drum beating just beneath my skin. Then, a creak, downstairs. Super soft, barely there, but in that thick silence, it was like a gunshot, like someone was tiptoeing. My heart did this weird little jump, you know, like a frog. I froze, my fingers hovering over the keyboard. My breath hitched in my throat. I just sat there, listening, holding my breath until my lungs burned. Wind, obviously, or the house settling, or maybe a mouse the size of a cat running around in the walls having a party. I tried to convince myself, to calm that little twitch of panic in my gut. This place was old, it made noises. But my skin felt prickly, like goosebumps were chasing each other up and down my arms. My throat felt dry as sand from all that holding my breath. I needed water, badly. I pushed myself up, my knees feeling a little wobbly, and headed downstairs to the kitchen. The old floorboards groaned under my weight, each step sounding ridiculously loud. When I got to the kitchen, it was just the kitchen. Dark, shadows dancing in the corners, nothing out of place. Except for one thing, the faucet. It was dripping. Slow, steady, plink, plunk, plink. I'd sworn I'd cranked that thing shut. I was meticulous about that kind of stuff. I mean, who wants a leaky faucet? I walked over, tightened it, gave it an extra twist just to be sure. The dripping stopped. Dead silence again. And then it hit me. That smell again. Fainter this time, but definitely there. Sweet, but also wrong. Like something alive, but also decaying. A hint of something metallic, too, like old blood. I sniffed the air like a bloodhound, turning my head around. My nose twitched, trying to pinpoint it. It was so fleeting, just a wisp, gone as fast as it came, leaving behind only the lingering scent of dust and damp. I stood there for what felt like forever, just breathing in the empty air. My brain was screaming, what the hell was that? But all I heard was the hollow echo of the old house, just the dripping faucet mocking me in the silence. Okay, so it's been a few days since that whole creepy faucet thing, and guess what? My brain? Still as empty as a politician's promise. My laptop screen just keeps mocking me, glowing white and accusing. Every single night, those weird noises downstairs, that damn smell, it's like a broken record, playing on repeat in my head, grinding away at my sleep. I swear, I'm running on fumes here. My eyes feel gritty, my head aches like a bad hangover, and if I don't get a triple-shot black coffee soon, I'm pretty sure I'll just short-circuit, like for real. The thing is, it's not just the sleepless nights. It's the notebook, Ilara's creepy-ass notebook. Those scribbled notes for her special recipes, they're stuck in my head like some messed-up pop song you can't get rid of. Every time I try to focus on my novel, my mind just goes, moon petal dew, splinter of bone. Like, seriously. I hate feeling this haunted by something so utterly dumb. It's just an old lady's weird hobby, right? A joke? But the way my stomach clenches every time I think about it, the way my skin crawls, it doesn't feel like a joke. It feels too real. I keep looking over my shoulder, even when I'm alone in the house. Am I actually losing my mind? Is this place finally getting to me? I can almost hear myself asking, "Sarah, are you okay, honey?" And I just scream, "No, I'm definitely not." There's this heavy feeling in my chest, a mix of pure frustration and something else, something cold and slithery that makes me want to bolt out the door. But then there's this other feeling, this tiny, insistent tug, like a hook in my brain, pulling me back to those pages. I need to know. I hate that I need to know. I couldn't take it anymore. The blank screen was a personal insult, and my own thoughts were turning into a twisted echo chamber. My hands, they felt like they weren't even mine, just moving on their own. I grabbed the notebook, the old leather feeling surprisingly cool against my clammy palms. I took it back to the kitchen, the same kitchen where that faucet had been dripping, the same kitchen that held that ghost of a smell. I pulled out a chair, the wood scraping harshly against the floor, and sat down. My heart thumped a nervous rhythm against my ribs. I flipped through the pages, my fingers tracing the elegant script of Ilara's normal recipes: lavender shortbread cookies, apple pie with a lattice crust, oatmeal milk for coughs, all the stuff you'd expect from a sweet old grandma. Pretty mundane, pretty normal. Just what I needed to remind myself that everything else was just me being a drama queen. My eyes scanned the ingredients: rolled oats, honey, cinnamon. Fine, totally fine. I almost convinced myself this was all just silly. But then my thumb brushed against a page marked with a faded, crimson ribbon. It was thin, frayed at the edges, almost like it was bleeding. My breath hitched. This was it. I knew it. My eyes dropped to the heading, stark against the yellowed paper, and my whole body just froze. Elixir of Vitality. There it was, just like the last time. My throat suddenly felt too tight, too small. I forced myself to read. Each word felt like a tiny, sharp needle pricking at my skin. A drop of blood from a broken promise. My stomach lurched. Okay, so that's poetic? Really dark poetry. A strand of hair from one loved dearly. Okay, getting a little more personal, a little too close for comfort. And then the last one, the one that made the air feel thin, sharp, like shards of glass. A splinter of bone from someone unmourned. My eyes couldn't leave the words. My vision swam, the letters blurring, then sharpening again, mocking me. Unmourned. The word vibrated in my head. I wanted to throw up, right there on the old wooden table. What in the actual hell was this? This wasn't a Halloween joke. This wasn't some quirky, witchy grandma fantasy. This was evil. Pure, unsettling evil, lurking between recipes for rhubarb crumble. And then it hit me, like a tidal wave. The memory, the one I'd always shoved into the weird dream pile. It wasn't a dream. It wasn't my overactive kid brain playing tricks. It was real. The vast, dark kitchen in the middle of the night. The dim orange glow of firelight flickering under a huge black cauldron. Steam curling up, thick and heavy. And Ilara. Her face pale as the moon, turning sharply when she saw me. Her eyes wide, full of something I couldn't name back then. But now I knew. It was fear, or maybe a warning. And the smell, God, the smell. It was that smell. Sweet and meaty, rancid and sickening. Exactly what I had smelled just days ago. That same impossible, gut-twisting odor. I had lied to myself for decades, spun a neat little story about herbal teas and child's imagination, but it was all a lie. My own lie. My hands started to shake, a tremor that ran right down to my bones. This wasn't just some morbid curiosity anymore. This was a secret, a very, very bad secret. My mind raced, trying to put the pieces together. Lily, my younger sister. She got sick here, didn't she? After one of those summers? A bad fever. The memory was vague, overshadowed by time and my own attempts to dismiss it. I needed more. I pushed away from the table, the chairs scraping loudly again, making me jump. I had to find something, anything. I started tearing through the house, a frantic energy seizing me. Every dusty corner, every forgotten drawer, every heavy old chest became a target. I ripped through linen closets, rummaged through hat boxes, tossed aside piles of ancient magazines. My breathing was fast, shallow, like I was running a marathon. I was looking for what? I didn't even know. Just something. Something that screamed, "This is real." Something that would confirm what my gut was screaming. I searched Alara's study again, more thoroughly this time. Then the living room, even the creepy old attic stairs. Finally, I found myself in Alara's bedroom. It was still exactly as she'd left it, a time capsule of faded florals and heavy, dark wood furniture. I got down on my hands and knees, peering under the heavy antique bed. Dust bunnies, sure, a forgotten slipper, probably, but tucked way back, almost entirely hidden, was a small, dark oak box. It looked old, weathered, the wood smooth from countless touches. My fingers trembled as I reached for it, pulling it out into the faint light filtering through the heavy curtains. My heart hammered against my ribs, a frantic bird trying to escape. This felt important, too important. I clicked open the tiny brass clasp. Inside, nestled on a bed of faded velvet, were two things. The first was a lock of hair, pale blonde, almost white gold, thin and delicate, tied with a single crimson thread. My breath hitched. It was the exact shade of Lily's hair when she was little, before she got sick. My fingers shook as I touched it, a cold shiver running down my spine, even though the hair itself was room temperature. It felt dead. Next to it, small and unnervingly white, was a tiny shard of bone. It was smooth, almost polished, like it had been handled a lot, or maybe filed down, like a piece of a puzzle, but a puzzle I never wanted to solve. A splinter of bone from someone unmourned. My eyes flashed back to the recipe. My throat tightened. This was it, all the pieces, right here. Underneath the hair and bone, folded carefully, was a piece of yellowed parchment. It was covered in a Larastrantic scrawl, the same handwriting as the elixir recipe. I unfolded it, my hands shaking so badly I almost tore the fragile paper. It was a series of meticulous, almost clinical, observations, notes about Lily, after she drank the medicine. It detailed her initial weakened state, the days of high fever, her body racked with tremors, and then the chilling phrase, the changes. Alara had written about Lily's eyes becoming deeper, smarter, but also colder. The notes went on, detailing how Lily seemed to possess a new, unnerving understanding of things, a quiet, almost ancient wisdom that didn't belong in a child. Tucked into the folds of the paper was another, smaller slip, detailing a broken promise from a distant relative, a man named Thomas, a promise Alara felt had cost her something dear. The world tilted. My brain screamed, trying to reject it, but the evidence was right there, undeniable. Lily hadn't just been sick, she'd been changed. All those pieces, the blood, the hair, the bone, the elixir, and Lily, it was all real. My stomach churned, a bitter taste rising in my mouth. My great-aunt Alara, what had she done? That night, sleep was a cruel joke. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, every shadow twisting into something sinister. My body felt heavy, but my mind was a buzzing hive of frantic thoughts, racing, tumbling over each other. Then it started. Faint at first, but unmistakable. That smell, Sweet, cloying, but with that deep, metallic, sickening undertone. It was no longer a ghost. It was a physical presence, wrapping itself around me, seeping into the very fabric of my room. It was strong, too strong, like someone was brewing a fresh batch of that elixir right below me. Motherfucker, I'm going to lose it. I'm actually going crazy. This can't be real. It can't be. But the smell, the sound, they were so damn real. My head was a freaking mess. Seriously, after that whole downstairs stirring thing last night, I felt like I was walking a tightrope, and the ground below was just black goo. Logic shattered, gone, vanished into thin air, just like my sleep. Every time I tried to make sense of Alara's notebook, of that smell, of the bone and hair in that box, my brain just screamed. It screamed that this couldn't be real. But then my gut clenched, cold and tight, telling me it was all too real. I hadn't slept, not really, just drifted in and out of a twisted, sweaty haze, the clack of that spoon stirring in my head. That smell, God, it was still there, clinging to the fabric of the old house, in my hair, in my clothes. It was this thick, sweet, meaty stench that made my stomach churn, even now. I felt like I was constantly on the verge of throwing up, but nothing was there, just bile. My eyes were burning, raw, with dark circles practically tattooed under them. My skin felt clammy, pale, like I was the ghost in this house. But even with all the horror, there was this sick, twisted curiosity, a pulling, dragging feeling that kept me from running away. I had to know. I hated it. I hated that I needed to know. I couldn't take it anymore. The silence of the morning, broken only by my own ragged breathing, was too much. The walls felt like they were closing in, every shadow a potential monster. I needed to talk to someone, anyone, even if they thought I was totally losing my mind. My fingers, still trembling a little, fumbled for my phone. Dee Carroll, Alara's daughter. She was probably the only one who might, I don't know, have some answers? Or at least confirm that Alara wasn't just some sweet old lady who baked cookies. My thumb hovered over her name. Then I hit call. My heart hammered against my ribs, a nervous drum solo. It rang a few times. Then Dee Carroll's voice, bright and cheerful, answered. "Sarah, what a surprise, honey. Everything all right?" Her normalness almost made me laugh, a hysterical, dry sound that caught in my throat. "Hey, Dee Carroll," I said, trying to keep my voice even, trying to sound casual, like I wasn't on the brink of a total meltdown. Yeah, everything's fine. Just, still cleaning out Alara's place." I took a deep breath. This was it. Listen, I was going through some of her old recipes, and some of them are kinda unique, like really old school stuff. Did Bako Alara ever make any special drinks or anything? Like really, really old traditions? I tried to make it sound like an innocent question, like I was just curious about old family remedies. Dee Carroll chuckled. "Oh, Alara and her concoctions. Yeah, she was always brewing something. Herbs, roots, God knows what else she picked from the woods. Thought she was a regular little witch doctor, that one." My blood ran cold. Witch doctor. Oh, you have no idea, Dee Carroll. "Yeah, I found some notes about a vitality elixir," I said, my voice barely a whisper. "It mentioned some unusual ingredients, and I just remembered from when I was really little, I thought I saw her making something in a big pot in the kitchen. It had this really peculiar smell. Sweet, yeah, but also kinda meaty, or almost bloody." There was a long pause on the other end, long enough for my heart to climb into my throat and stay there. I could practically hear Dee Carroll sighing. Then her voice came back, calm, almost too calm. "Ah, that stuff. That was her good luck brew. She made it every year for your mother's birthday, bless her heart, said it brought good fortune and kept the bad spirits away. My world tilted. Good luck brew? I repeated, my voice cracking. It was the elixir. I knew it. But Alara made it for Mom's birthday? Every year? D. Carroll continued, completely oblivious to the chaos she was unleashing. Yeah, but she stopped doing it after your sister Lily got really sick. You remember that, right? After one of those summers at Baco's? Lily was just a tiny thing then, maybe 5 or 6. She was messing around in the kitchen, and somehow she drank a sip of it. My breath hitched. My hand, holding the phone, started to shake so hard I almost dropped it. "Oh, that poor kid," D. Carroll went on, her voice full of a gentle pity that felt like a punch to the gut. "She got a really bad fever for days, just wasted away, you know, lying there, limp as a rag doll. Your mom, she was so worried, she had to hide the pot after that, scared to death of what might happen. But Alara, oh, Alara was so proud. She kept saying it was the strongest batch she ever made, said it would bring Lily the most luck." The phone slipped from my grasp. It clattered against the old wooden floorboards, the muffled sound of Z. Carroll's voice fading into a distant hum. Strongest batch, drank accidentally, Lily's changes. The words echoed in my head, slamming against each other. My vision swam. That note about the broken promise, the lock of Lily's hair, the tiny, polished splinter of bone. It all clicked, every single piece, right into place, a grotesque, horrifying picture. The splinter of bone from someone unmourned. My great-aunt Alara, she didn't just brew weird herbal teas. This wasn't some harmless, eccentric hobby. This was a ritual. And Lily, my little sister. My stomach lurched. I stumbled back from the fallen phone, gagging, and collapsed to my knees right there in the kitchen. A wave of nausea hit me, hard and fast. I threw up, hot and bitter bile burning my throat, splattering onto the worn linoleum. My body convulsed, heaving, trying to expel the horror that was now festering inside me. My great-aunt Alara, the sweet, cookie-baking grandma, was a monster, and Lily, my little sister, had been a victim. She hadn't just been sick, she'd been changed. When the spasms finally subsided, leaving me weak and panting, I pushed myself up, my legs feeling like jelly. My eyes were fixed on the small, dark oak box I'd found under Alara's bed. It sat on the counter where I'd left it, the lock of pale blonde hair, tied with that crimson thread, the unnervingly white shard of bone. They weren't just evidence of a twisted past anymore. They were relics, the cold, tangible remains of a disgusting, unspeakable crime. I shuffled, almost blindly, out of the kitchen and down the hallway. My feet felt heavy, each step dragging. I found myself standing in front of Lily's old room. The door was slightly ajar, a sliver of darkness visible inside. From within, I heard a soft, rustling sound, like old paper crinkling. My heart jumped, a frantic bird trapped in my chest. My hands, still shaking, pushed the door open the rest of the way. The room was dim, filled with the dust and ghosts of childhood. A single ray of light cut through the heavy curtains, illuminating dust motes dancing in the air. On the floor, near the window, was an old photograph. It was Lily, a younger version of her, a picture I remembered being taped to the wall near her bed. Now it lay face down. I bent down, my fingers trembling, and gently flipped it over. In the picture, Lily was smiling, a sweet, innocent child's smile. But her eyes, oh God, her eyes. They weren't the soft, trusting eyes I remembered. They were deep, too deep for a child, cold, so damn cold. It was like she was looking right through me, or maybe looking at something far beyond me, something I couldn't see. And there it was, a faint reddish smear, almost like a tiny, dry drop of blood, clinging to the very edge of the photo. Dee Carroll's words clawed their way back into my brain, echoing, reverberating. Ilara always bragged it was the strongest batch she ever made. And the elixir recipe, a splinter of bone from someone unmourned. Where did Ilara get that bone? What kind of monster? If Lily didn't just accidentally drink some harmless herbal tea, and her terrible sickness wasn't some random bad luck, then what in the living hell was that elixir of vitality? And what was Lily changed into? Was she really luckier, or had she simply shifted? Suddenly, a blast of icy air sliced through me, making me gasp. I whipped around, my head snapping back, expecting I don't know what. But there was nothing, just the dusty, quiet room. No one. The air grew heavy, like a suffocating blanket. My eyes landed on the old, full-length mirror propped against the far wall. Its surface was covered in a fine layer of dust, distorting the reflection of the room. But as I stared, a strange smile seemed to form on the dusty glass. A wide, ancient, chilling smile. It wasn't my reflection. It was something else, something old, and it seemed to be grinning right at me.